Welcome to our class on chaos magic and me still getting used to having this funny appliance in my mouth and thinking I sound really weird all the time. So what is chaos magic? I mean, I would argue that chaos magic is kind of the most interesting and recent movement in occulture. Now I keep using that phrase, occulture, the culture of the secret, the occult culture. Now, chaos here doesn't mean a complete lack of order. It means that it is unbounded possibility and potentiality. When a chaos magician talks about the forces of chaos, they're not talking about the forces of disruption or violence or anything. They're talking about the unlimited potential that can be drawn from as a very body of possibility, if you will. Now, the tradition of chaos magic is less a philosophy than it is a methodology. Practitioners create whatever lore or symbols are needed to address a specific problem magically. They scrupulously document all their rituals and their meditations, looking to track what was successful and what is not successful. So they'll try kind of anything and they'll write it down, and then they'll correlate by keeping journals and keeping records to see what stuff worked and what stuff didn't. There's no one methodology that's considered more inherently powerful or over another, or no deity that's more important rather than another. The only reason to repeat a magical operation is that it is successful and you repeat what works. Now, the name does sound kind of cool. Chaos magic. It does tend to appeal to goofy, edgelord type males, but they tend to not stick with it for very long. However, those that engage in chaos magic over long periods of time, and then usually do chaos magic in addition to some other form of ceremonial magic or neo-paganism or Wicca or whatever, I would argue that the tenets of chaos magic are far wider than just people who self-identify as chaos magicians. And why wouldn't you want to be like this cool guy over here? And look at the symbol. That's the chaos symbol. It's delightful. It's delightful. So elements of chaos magic are found throughout modern magical traditions. Lots of Dalemites and Wiccans use principles of chaos magic, whether they know it or not. I would argue that there's so much chaos magic in our postmodern world and shot through magical cultures around, whether people like it or whether they endorse chaos magic or not. There's a lot of chaos magic in what they do in general. Excuse me, Arlo. I'm trying to lecture here. All right. So, chaos magic is practical. It's a very practical kind of methodology. Hold on, I'm going to hit pause here. Okay, so the thing about chaos magic is it's practical. And from the readings, you can see that all of the lore and the doctrines set out by Peter Carroll come out of his practice, of his own experiments. He wrote Liber Null and Psychonaut directly out of his own experiences doing magic and the experiences of his fellow chaos magicians in the 1970s. Now, this book, Liber Null and Psychonaut, that are now published together, have been revised. You read the edition from 2022, has been tremendously influential, not just in occulture. I think that this book has wider resonances with lots of cultural aspects these days. Peter Carroll was drawing from Aleister Crowley, another ceremonial magician who was a student of Crowley's named Augustin Spare, ceremonial magic, and also general history of religions. He really pushes magic as the manipulation of consciousness, Arlo, please, especially altered states of consciousness using drugs, sleep, meditation, extreme emotions, and physical body functions. You'd be amazed at the way they're able to use sneezes and ejaculations and urinations and orgasms and defecations as being ways to charge magical operations. So while it is very much a mental type of magic and a mind training, it is very much connected to the body. They push creating altered states of consciousness that charge the deployment of will to change the world and to change the individual. All right, I'll be right back.